Hello everyone. Well, I think when I made my video on Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled and the microtransactions were announced, the thing is, I didn't feel like talking about it then because we hadn't seen how much they were going to cost. Now that I have, I'd like to get my own thoughts on it. Honestly, I don't really understand why anyone didn't see this coming. Just looking at how the pit stop was set up, because it looks like it was intended to use them anyway. But now seeing the prices, I don't think a lot of people are going to be fooled by this. Maybe a little bit just to get a certain item, but I don't know. Because I'm looking at the prices, and the best deal you get, which obviously is the most expensive one, is like $10 for about 4 days worth of coins, in terms of if you were only play online for like 30 minutes of gameplay each day. So with that being said, I'm not doing it myself. I mean, I'm already really close to unlocking everything in the Grand Prix at the moment. I'm trying to think about how many things. I think I have 4 costumes left, and then let's see what else. No, I think that's it. I think that's all I've got. Like the nitro fueled points for those unlockables you get through the daily challenges, still have to get those. But as for the pit stop stuff, I think it really is just 4 costumes, maybe 5 or 6, and after that I'll just start clearing out the rest of the pit stop, where there's a lot of players that aren't even going to need the microtransactions because, for one, they're not going to see it as worth it, or two, they probably played the game so much that they get enough coins to get all this stuff anyway, to where it's probably an empty pit stop. I'd like to see what that looks like. Maybe I'll take a picture later and make my own video about that. I guess I can spend the rest of the video giving some thoughts on a few things, comparing the old game to this new game, because I didn't really talk about that at all. So I guess you can consider this review continued. I didn't talk about any of the voice acting and its choices. I will say this. I like pretty much every voice that's picked for the game, or if I don't, it'll grow on me. When I played through the whole game, I played as Dingodile, and that dance he does where he sings his name to a conga line, at first I hated that, but it quickly grew on me. It's so dumb, I love it. As for everything else, I like his voice, but I don't know how close to an Australian accent his voice really is. But who knows. Moving on. Aku Aku's voice sounds great, same as usual. Uka Uka's voice really confused me when I first heard it, because same actor, I didn't know if it was, but he's doing some different type of voice that doesn't sound like anything I've heard him do. I couldn't say I could complain, because Clancy Brown only did Uka Uka's voice right the first time in Warped. Everything else just sounds like an evil Mr. Krabs to me. I don't really know what happened there for the rest of his appearances. But even with the original actor, something can go wrong in the next appearance. Keep that in mind. I really like Ripperoo. We all know his voice isn't that original sample, but it's still great. And I really think his animations make up for it. Papu Papu is great. I really like that. I really like Komodo Joe. He's my favorite boss. I love his voice. I love his animations. And Pinstripe is a character that I was kind of half and half on, where I like the cutscenes better than the original, but the actual gameplay audio, the new game, the audio grew on me as it went by, but as the more I get used to it. But I still like the original voice more just because it has a very threatening tone that still sends chills down my spine. Oxide's voice I'm fine with. I know everyone prefers the original voice, and I kind of do too, but that actor's no longer with us and hasn't been for like the last 9 years, so there really isn't anything we can do. And the game featured new characters from both the Nitro Kart game as well as Grand Prix characters. I was really pleased with how they introduced the Trophy Girls, just having them as racers instead, and Tana, giving her a speaking role for the first time. And not only that, I find it interesting just the way that they cast each of the Trophy Girls. You have an English actress as, I think, Liz. Megumi had an Asian actress doing a Japanese accent. You had Isabella, I believe, with an Italian accent. When I first heard it, I had no clue what it was supposed to be. And then you have Amy, which is the character I kept playing because I wanted the extra Nitro points for the percentage, and speed characters is what I usually play. Usually I switch it out of desperation if I get stuck on something for a while. I mean, I've unlocked... So, speaking of... I have finally gotten every single character from the original roster. I hadn't been able to get Entrance for a while because I didn't get him before the first Grand Prix happened, and the pack was taken away, and instead they replaced it with individual items when the next Grand Prix began. And I'm fine with that as long as I was able to get the stuff. I was kind of not surprised that the second Grand Prix started only like 5 days after the previous one. Like, what else are you gonna do? It was a little exhausting. If at the end of this Grand Prix, if I don't get any new items because I was in the 5% again, then once I unlock all the unlockables in the next Grand Prix, I'm going to stop doing daily challenges because it's not worth doing them if that's the case. I just keep doing them because I want to stay in the 5% just to make sure I still get something if there is anything. I mean, I think I might already have the item that is supposed to be unlocked. Like, this is a chance for people who didn't get it last time to unlock it this time. So who knows? I love the new tracks that they introduced. Like, the first one has an Egyptian theme, and it goes between night and day. The second track is prehistoric, which the context is what if faked Crash stole the device that Entropy uses and goes back in time and winds up creating his own society where it's, I think, all his children that grow up, I believe. That's what it looks like to me. Or maybe we're just seeing him over and over again, like he donned a prehistoric attire. I can't wait for that Spyro Grand Prix. I'm so excited to see what they do. Not only are we getting Tom Kenny back to play him again, as well as other actors, but I want to see what they do for that track because they have so many options of what they can make the track look like. Spyro had 3 games with so many varied levels, and I'm not sure how you can translate that to a racing game. I'd love to see what Beanox does. Back to the microtransactions, though, I think that they'll mostly just brush over. Not a lot of people will be interested in it, but I think Activision's just going to keep them up just because any little bit is going to help for them, and I don't think it costs them any more to keep it up. What do I know? Maybe someone can correct me on that. I already had a horrible spending craze that I'll never let happen again, where I lost so much money due to a game called Cooking Dash. Amazing free-to-play game, but I fell into that paying to win, and completely destroyed. Like, I wound up deleting the game, which deleted all that progress I got with the money. But it was the only way to trust my parents and myself that I wouldn't spend any more. Which is why I'll never do microtransactions ever again. You'd expect me to be one of the people angry about these microtransactions in this new game, but no. Maybe it's just because I had such a horrible incident in one place I never want to happen again, that, you know. Besides, I can't imagine how much money you really would spend to get everything without playing the game. I'd actually like to see if someone was crazy enough to do that. But what do I know? Well, have fun playing the game. I know I will. Bye.